Let's create an intermediary file in Skyslope. It all starts with the listing agent. The listing agent will need to log into her Skyslope account and select the file, the listing file that has an accepted contract on it. She'll go to the checklist tab and select accepted contract. Now I already did that, so I'm a step ahead of you. But she'll select accepted contract just as you would with any other contract on your listing. Once you select accepted contract, you fill in a few items, it'll take you to the transaction page. So this should look familiar to you. And just as usual, you would go through and you'd fill in the red asterisks. So we'll start off with the checklist type. With intermediary, you have two selections. You can either select a lease intermediary if this was a rental, or if this is a purchase, you'll press sale intermediary. I already pre-filled in some of the red asterisks, but one that I did not fill in is co-listing agent. Now you'll notice that there's no red asterisk next to it, but it's very important that you fill this in. So let's pretend that I'm the listing agent, and let's add Susie Stewart as the buyer's agent. So let's go back and click that. So to add Susie Stewart as the buyer's agent to this file, I'm going to press add. I'm going to start typing in her name, and she should auto-populate. I'm going to select Save Co-Agent, and there she is. So what this essentially does, this gives her access to this file so she can upload all the buyer's docs. So let's see what that looks like. Remember that when you make changes to this page, you'll need to press Next at the bottom to save your changes. And let's go to the checklist and see what that looks like. Okay, so now you'll scroll down and you'll see all the other additional items that were required for an intermediary situation, including the receipt page from the contract. We don't normally require that in our files, but for intermediary, we do. You also notice the wire fraud warning. That's automatically required for a buyer anyway, but the IABS for a buyer, buyer's representation agreement, intermediary relationship notice, and then the CDAs for both. So the listing agent can come through this checklist and add in all the docs that she has. She probably won't have the buyer's representation agreement or the buyer's IABS. So the buyer's agent, which is Susie in this example, will come through this checklist and she'll add those docs. So you both have access to this file. Now you'll notice if you scroll down, the listing docs are still there as well. And so to keep the listing agreement confidential, once the staff member here in the office sees that this is an intermediary situation, we'll go to the listing file here and we'll kind of hide the listing agreement. It'll still be available to the listing agent to access, but temporarily we're going to hide it. That way they have a little bit of confidentiality and the buyer's agent cannot access the listing agreement. If you're concerned about that, you can call the office and we'll walk you through how all of that works. So that's it. That's how you do intermediary.